Okay, so the recording corrupted halfway through. Um, that means I have a lot less time. It took 40 minutes. So I think I'm just going to look at our Hanamura defense because they did pretty well and there was a lot to say about it. And then I'll probably go on to the map that we lost. I do apologize for this being so scuffed, but now I need to repeat everything that I said. Um, So if I look at our team comp, one sec, let me just switch back to my recording to see if it's actually recording. Okay, right. It's recording. Um, when we look at our team comps, we have Arissa, Sig, Ash, Hanzo, Mercy, Anna. So we've got the double sniper, double shield. With a pocket, obviously Anna. They have a standard Brawl, Sim May, and Diva. So yeah, so they have a Sim Diva Brawl comp basically. So it's apparent to me that we need to try and get different angles. There's no point playing two shields at the same place because all that means is we get burned slightly easier. Well, it takes slightly less time to burn our shields, and that's all it does. They can still brawl into us and we lose. It's good that we have a Sigma on the high ground here and an Orisa on the low ground there, taking up two different angles, one main, one that route, and obviously Sig can easily turn and jump here and get another angle on them there. It looks like they're going to sim TP. I already seen this game, like I said, I've already recorded this. So when they sim TP, they're either gonna TP here, TP here, TP here. Sometimes people go this side and then try and TP. I've seen people try and go right and then TP there and then go around from the back, but again, that's very rare, very obvious. So this team TPs onto the high ground. Let me just play this. Again, we're holding angles very, very well. This is what we need to do with our poke comp. They TP on the high ground. That was a good halt. That was a good idea for a halt, maybe slightly earlier. We need to try and pull them off for the low grounds. Did they use amp? I think that amp's still up. But it's not too bad, don't worry. We need to try and pull them off of the low ground. Off of the high ground. So that halt wasn't a bad idea. It would have disrupted heavily. They would have had to change and think on the spot. If I was Kato, I'd be playing this side of my shield whilst they took TP. Just he was playing here slightly. Whilst our other sniper Hanzo was here. We would have just taken slightly less damage if he was sitting here. Well, he didn't take any damage, but there was less of a chance to take damage anyway. What we do here isn't bad, but we need to stop just like blindly reacting. Remember how to play our team comp and remember to take time. We can give them ticks if we must. What one of the tanks should have done is set up. If I was Orisa slightly behind, I would have seen a Sig there, set up there, and I would have changed my route and rotated around here, just so we can get the two angles, right? They have a brawl comp. They can't brawl two places at once. They would have to brawl here and then go there, just because that side's closer. And again, Orisa can halt, Sigma can stun. So whichever group of people they want to brawl onto, we would have stuns or at least CC for them. See, we make the mistake of holding the same spot, trying to get that contest. Trying to get the contest right. In this situation, Sigma's walled. Sigma tries to back up. Sigma can't back up. That's way too skinny for him. Orisa. I'm just trying to see if the height works. Orisa can probably drop down onto point here. In this situation, if our Sig gets walled, Orisa has to try and peel. Either they have to try and break Brawl or they have to like join their Sigma. Because if Orisa doesn't do anything about this, then Sigma dies. Orisa tries with the pull, but it's unfortunate. Again, it's always going to be dangerous trying to actually head-on take a Brawl. If Orisa contested as well, Orisa probably would have died. But yeah, that's just the beauty of taking two angles. If Sigma got walled, Orisa would still be here and be able to do damage, and it would distract. They would still probably get the pick on the Sigma, but look, we forced Lamp, we would have done a lot more. And our damage could have actually dealt damage pretty much. Orisa can't really do much about the situation. Orisa does well to even touch point here. Decent use of golden, trying to do something, but I like how our snipers and our healers were set up here. This is fine on the high ground. But again, okay, our Hanzo's here. This is even better. What we need to do is just focus on angles, because they can't brawl every single angle. This is what we need to do. Our positioning was fine. I wouldn't really say a mistake because it's hard to think of in a moment, but next time we need to always constantly be thinking about angles in terms of where our tanks are. So if we took both angles here, then we would have had a lot better of a chance. When a Brawl comp is fighting a point though, like on the point, it's always going to be difficult. But we do lose that, and I remember there's nothing much to say. The D.Va makes a slight mistake by going onto the high ground. Obviously, D.Va should only really go onto the high ground in a Brawl if the team are positioned there. She has that like vertical coverage, but it's still a Brawl comp. So without their D.Va, they have nothing to like nullify their damage onto the shield. Instead of fast forwarding, I'm just gonna put 2x speed because my game bugs out kind of often. They ATP right side. What I was saying is, I like how Sigma decided to take up the angle, but Sigma can't really deal damage. His orb probably explodes like here. Sigma can't really deal much damage from this sort of angle. So Sigma would have to drop and just try and sit maybe here, try and deal damage from behind, but again, that makes him vulnerable. They could easily just brawl him out. Obviously, you're going to hear me speak about angles the most because that's how you beat brawl comps. They can't physically brawl out 6 people without taking a significant amount of damage. Especially if they're in different places in the map. Ana's positioning, I like setting up Ana here if the team attacks the high ground, because they TP, that sort of screws up Ana. If I was Ana, I would probably back up scared. Let's just see how this is. Ana, that's a decent nade. That's a very decent nade. They decide to brawl out on the Sigma. So this is where Ana needs to start focusing our Sig. Let's see from the point of view of our Ashe. Not a bad angle. Sigma is obviously dying. I don't know what just happened there. But yeah. Not bad. If I was a Hanzo, I'd be seeking the high ground. To be honest, if I was a Hanzo, I would be here, and if I was the Ashe, I'd be seeking the high ground, just because she's hit scan. She deals like damage. There's no like travel time on the bullets or anything like that. There's no bullet drop. So if I was the Ashe, I'd be seeking the high ground. And now the D.Va's got the high ground, but like I said, there's no point of D.Va getting the high ground if she's not brawling out. See, the thing that happens here, I remember, we are winning this fight. We have spawn. The BAP takes a good position up here because the only person that can contest him from here is the Hanzo, and that's why if I was the Ashe, I'd be taking the high ground. Just for a better angle. Ashe probably kills BAP, especially with a pocket as well. The reason why we lose this fight is because our Hanzo is forced to contest the BAP. Our Ashe isn't on the high ground. And also they switch to the Widowmaker and the Widowmaker pops off. Again, that would have been avoided if the Ashe set up on the high ground. Bat would have died, the tank would have had less sustain. Widowmaker might have got the picks, but Widowmaker might not have even got back in time before the team died. The Widow is very good, I wanna... That dive from Kato on the ball was very good. Obviously we have spawn. It takes us a very short amount of time to get back on the point. If the Widow stayed there uncontested, it's better to give a few ticks and kill the Widow than just try and stall whilst the Widow kills our squishies. If the Widow was still there uncontested, she would have single-handedly won on the point. I'm not going to lie. So it's good that Tracer and Brawl both tried to contest the high ground. You did well there. It doesn't matter that they got a tick. And it's fine. It's fine because you stalled for a bit. See, how many ults did they use? They use Blizz and they use Window. Don't really need to use them together, but I guess you can. The only issue I saw here is we need to be fight planning. I guess it could be considered final fight because if they cap this point, they win the game. Or they probably do win the game realistically because their time bank is so high, right? But what was I going to say? Yeah, you still need to be fight planning 100%. Because we use Flux, we use Bob. Bob drops as well. Like that was kind of a waste. We use Valk and we use Nano as the 4 ults. 4 of our best ults, arguably. They're literally our 4 best ults. Obviously, Bull's ult is good for zoning. But yeah. Gonna double check on the recording. Sorry, I'm getting like very scared. Okay, it's there. I'm getting scared just in case it happens again. Been speaking for like an hour straight at this point. Alright, so now that we're running a split, our Brawl has to try and isolate the Widow because they have a Brawl with a Widow. We perfectly counter them. Brawl and Tracer. Nice, good early pick. The thing is, their Brawl can probably still go in without the Widow, but I don't think they will. They might. Because in my opinion, Widowmaker gets most value by either getting early picks, so taking them by surprise, or what Widow did before, joining the fight late, and again taking them by surprise. It doesn't matter if Widow joins the fight late, as long as people aren't dying. It is if they are dying. Because Widow can always, she has the capability to just delete people. Not a bad minefield at all. Could have been better. Could have definitely been worse. It definitely bought a slight amount of time. They were grouped up. Sometimes maybe putting a minefield behind, but thinking about it logistically, if the minefield's in this corridor, they would just hold W and then it would be worthless anyway, so. Now they switch to the Kree because the ball is giving them issues and the trace is giving them issues. Not bad. Let me see what the angles we're holding. This is still very much about angles, our team comp. Not as much as it was before. Very dangerous. This is probably the moment we realize they have a Kree. Kind of hard to comment on that specific play. We used abilities and didn't get value from abilities, so my advice would be get value from abilities. We used a power drive, it got shielded. We used nade. I believe nothing happened from the nade. I might be wrong actually, because we just used a nade there. Because we invested nano and a nade into that ball, we need to keep that ball alive. If ball dies, it's throw. Although Tracer and our Widowmaker are doing very, very well. Our team is very good at playing these angle comps. So to be honest, I find it a lot harder. Brawl is more simple. It's just hold W and speed in. So the fact that you guys are quite good at playing like angle related split pokey comps is very encouraging, because in my opinion they're a lot harder. Positioning is quite difficult because it depends on the context of the situation. Ryan dies here surely. Ball escapes. Not bad. Not bad. So the fast forwarding, I'll just times 2 speed it. Widowmaker gets the pick. Our Widow is good. Our Widow is just as good as their Widowmaker, to be fair. From what I've seen anyway. They've gone on to Widow to contest our Widow now. This is good. It's good that we're forcing them. Like, our Widowmaker did so well, and their Kree couldn't contest our Widowmaker. So now they've decided to go Widowmaker. But the beauty about this situation is our comp counters Widowmaker. We have another Widowmaker that's highly capable of killing other Widowmakers. We have a Tracer, and we have a Ball that can also very easily kill a Widowmaker. Fat Rock. I say Fat Rock. Didn't really do much, but I just said Fat Rock because it hit, to be honest. We need to try and get the sticks, obviously. I won't comment on mechanics, so I don't tend to comment on mechanics on VODs. See, this is what I mean when I say Anna setting up here also works as Zen, right? Anna setting up here is very good when they come up from the high ground. It takes a very long time for her to be contested. And since we're countering their Widowmaker very well, it's working. I commented this before. We saw their Diva fell off the map, so they're obviously resetting. They're all playing behind natural cover, but I saw we're still using abilities. Don't use any abilities. We know for a fact that their push won't come in the next 10-15 seconds, and I guess you could argue that the abilities will come back by the time the 10-15 seconds is up. But it's just best to go into a fight with all abilities up, so we don't need to unnecessarily be using stuff. Obviously the Zen Orb on the Trace is fine because there's no cooldown, but I like our Anna. He's very quick to rotate, but he could have easily got headshot by the Widowmaker there, so he was very lucky. And I love these power drive nanos. It gets ult so quickly. Ball is so difficult to kill. And again, our DPS are huge. Our tanks are huge. Our supports are huge as well. Look at the Zen with the Discord assist. Very, very good play on the whole. Very, very good team play. Hopefully I like highlighted reasons as to why we full held that with the angles and stuff like that. And how to play it against a Brawl. We played it very, very intelligently. I wish I could like map it out in some way, but I do have some notes like typed up how to play Brawl, how to play Double Bubble, how to play Poke, how to play Split. I have all of those notes somewhere on my computer, and what's interesting about Overwatch is it's similar to Pokemon in a way that there's no real meta. Um, Obviously goats was the meta, but they got rid of goats. Now it's more like this comp counters this comp, but it's also countered by this comp, which is countered by the first comp. And so it's sort of good. It's definitely a game about counters. And what we did well is that we were forcing our Widowmaker did well enough to force their McCree back onto Widowmaker when we still had counters for the Widowmaker. So they thought that it was high value to go Widowmaker, more high value than to counter the Brawl, to counter the Bort on the Kree. They decided that Widowmaker was a better shout when we still had counters for it. That's how we know we're doing well, when they're switching to characters that we already have counters for. That means that they're getting pressured, and that means that we probably win that. I will get back to recording the VOD that we lost either later today or tomorrow morning. Sorry, I would have had more time, but my game file corrupted. I'll get this uploaded now, and I'll probably send this before I leave. So yeah.